Hey there, welcome back. This is Felix from Goldammer Vintage Watches. Cartier, the French jeweler and watchmaker, has perhaps the most famous historical claim of any watch brand. Supplier of the first man's wristwatch, the Cartier Santos in 1911. In today's video, we will guide you through its fantastic history and share our feelings about the design. So let's jump in and start with a quick look behind the company's roots. Cartier, the now world-renowned company, goes back to a small jewelry shop in Paris, which Louis-François Cartier took over in 1847 from his teacher Adolphe Picard. But it was Alfred Cartier, the jeweler's son, who joined the company in 1898, who developed the first wristwatches and included them in the Maison Cartier product range. The Cartier family kept the company until 1964 and is now part of the Richemont Group with a market share of around 40%. The over 100 years old Cartier Santos is with no doubt one of the most famous collections within the company. According to the story, in 1904, Brazilian aviator Alberto Santos Dumont complained to his good friend Louis Cartier about the unreliability and impracticality of using a pocket watch while flying. So Louis himself decided to create a wristwatch that would meet these special requirements. He designed a flat wristwatch with a square bezel and a jigger movement and gave it to Mr. Santos Dumont in 1904. While there are some discussions about the first humans to take a flight, Santos Dumont or the Wright brothers in 1903, there's no debate about the first man's wristwatch. Back in the 19th and the early beginning 20th century, fashion was far away from what it is nowadays. For the most part, men only wore pocket watches and the few wristwatches available on the market were worn by women. Patek Philippe, for example, launched the first wristwatch for women in 1868. What also cannot disputed is that in 1906, Santos Dumont became the first person to be filmed flying an airplane for 21.5 seconds and 60 meters at an average altitude of 5 meters with a Cartier watch on his wrist. The first man's and pilot watch was officially named Cartier Santos Dumont and launched in 1911 with a similar design as the 1904 creation. This timepiece was offered in a variety of platinum and yellow gold models, all measuring quite small by today's standards, 25 mm without crown and 35 mm high. The watches usually came with brown or black leather straps with a gold folding buckle. This is where we have to note another first. Cartier developed the so-called déployant mechanism, which stands for folding clasp and for years was the only such mechanism on the market. At first glance, it is not immediately obvious what Alfred Cartier's inspiration was when he designed the Santos. The case of the Santos was apparently inspired by a square pocket watch that Cartier had made. But this easy-to-read dial design indicates a shift towards the Art Deco style that would come to define the 1920s and 30s and still define Cartier's design aesthetic today. The case was designed to be sturdy, and the screws that held the glass in place were meant to resemble the legs of the new Eiffel Tower. Likewise, the black-net Roman numerals indicate the radial layout of Parisian streets and broad boulevards. Cartier continued to manufacture the Santos, despite World War II and the military requirements for round watches. Due to the increasing popularity of round watches, the square design of the Santos was pushed into the background more and more. Unfortunately, this trend continues to this day. Another interesting milestone in the Santos history books are the late 1970s, beginning 1980s. In 1978, Cartier redesigned and renamed it the Santos de Cartier, also known as Carrée, and equipped it with a few unusual features. It is a timepiece out of our today's piece with a reference 2961. This timepiece made a real breakthrough to become well known to the general public. The reasons for this are varied, but one of the main reasons is that Cartier only offers its watches in precious metals like platinum and gold, and the correspondingly high prices excluded a large number of potential customers. The answer was simple: steel. a material Cartier had not worked with before for watches. To give the new watch a sense of luxury, Cartier decided to design the model in steel with 18K gold accents. A daring combination, then the mix of steel and gold was not common these days. And Cartier was one of the first companies to lead this new two-tone trend. Furthermore, the company giving the watch an integrated bracelet instead of the traditional leather strap. Soon after releasing the B-Metal Santos, Cartier also released an all-steel model. The last milestone of our today's video is in 1987, when the Cartier Santos was completely renamed, redesigned and relaunched as the Santos Galbée. The case ditched its boxy appearance and became more curved around the lugs to fit the wrist better than the original Santos. Most Santos Galbée models were quartz powered, although some models features mechanical movements. Our today's piece, the Cartier Santos Carrée, is often wrongly referred to as the Galbée, even by many dealers. So people just wonder, what is what? Carré is the French word for square and also for straight. If you look at the case from the side, you'll notice that the case feature a straight close line. The Galbée, on the other hand, has more curvature to it. And such as the name, it is not very surprising, as Galbée literally means curved and curvy in French. Over the years, there have been several variations of this icon, always building on the iconic original. Santos chronograph, special iced out versions, gold, steel, if you can think of it, it has been made. As you can see, the Santos has a pretty robust history and relatively fixed design codes. So that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day and hope to see you in our next one.